I'm Admiral, and in this video, I'll be trying to beat Pokémon X with the team of just one Goodra. If you saw my last video, where I did Pokémon Black with just Hydreigon, you'll know that I finished that game feeling a little burned out. There was just a lot about that game that I didn't like, but I'm feeling refreshed and optimistic as we enter this game for my first ever playthrough. There are only 2 rules for this run. In battle, I can only use Goodra, and the run starts when I get my starter and ends when I enter the Hall of Fame. Otherwise, I'm good to do whatever I want. I'm really excited to play this one. I've played Generation 6 before, as I finished Alpha Sapphire when it came out, so I know what to expect in terms of gameplay here. Normally, that would be a given since, it's Pokemon. It's not hard to play. Here, though, it's important thanks to this generation's introduced mechanic, Mega Evolution. It's an interesting tool that lets a Pokemon change its form during battle, receiving adjusted and or buffed stats, a new ability, and sometimes even a new typing. Unfortunately, I won't be using that mechanic in this run, since Goodra doesn't have a Mega. I have opinions on that decision, which I'll share sometime during the run. For now, I want to focus on Goodra itself. In terms of actually using Goodra, it's pretty low on my list of pseudo-legendaries, but in terms of its vibes, perfect. No notes. It is simply immaculate in that regard. Goodra is a friend. Unfortunately, just about everything else about Goodra is pretty underwhelming. To start, it's a pure dragon type. In fact, it's the only pseudo-legendary that only has one type instead of 2. That would have been pretty cool in early generations, but here it's just going to hurt us, especially since this generation introduced the fairy type, basically nerfing all dragon Pokemon. Not a great start. Our stats are also pretty underwhelming. The only standout is a base 150 special defense, which is, quite frankly, just overkill. For reference, that's the highest base stat out of any pseudo-legendary. The next highest is Dragapult Speed at 142. After that are Salamence and Metagross, tied with 135 attack each. Speaking of attack, Goodra isn't very good at it, and it's not much better at special attack. And as if that weren't bad enough, we have a base speed of 80. I get the feeling we'll get outsped and smacked by Moonblast or some other horrifying fairy move at least once this run. Luckily, our moveset is incredible. Even though our best level up move is Dragon Pulse, which is actually just our best move thanks to Stab, we get a ton of utility out of our TMs. Ice Beam, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Earthquake, Sludge Wave, Sludge Bomb, and Return are all on the table here. Plus, if we're really struggling, Toxic and Protect are available too. We get a ton of coverage and a lot of strategies are going to be open to us. In terms of abilities, Goodra is back to mediocrity. Sapsiper and Hydration are its 2 normal potential abilities. Sapsiper raises our physical attack stat if we're hit by a grass move, while Hydration heals any status conditions in the rain. They're so specific that it's hard for me to imagine a world in which we actually benefit from them. That's why I'm really hoping we have our hidden ability, Gooey. It's an ability that lowers an opposing Pokemon's speed when they make contact with Goodra. If we get it, I'll be elated. If not, disappointed, but not very surprised. With all of that out of the way, it's time to get into the run. As always, I'll be writing the script for this as I'm going through it, so you'll mostly be getting my unfiltered thoughts on Goodra and Kalos as commentary. Now then, let's get started. The game starts with my mom sending her bird to do the dirty work of waking me up, so I go ahead and get dressed before moving downstairs. I step outside where I'm ambushed by 2 strange women claiming to be my neighbors. They invite me to join them in the next town to get our Pokemon, where I discover that this game has 4 rivals. These strangers insist on giving me a nickname, but they haven't earned that right yet, so I have them keep calling me Admiral. I resist the sudden urge to throw myself out of a window after the pain of 3 rivals in black, and claim my Goodra, who's too big for the screen. I nickname her Guku, and we face off against Shauna for our first battle. It's a battle against Chespin, but all we do is trade tackles, so I make sure to take the time to examine my Pokemon afterwards. Guku has a sassy nature, which takes some speed away in return for greater special defense. Because we needed more special defense. I'm displeased, but I can't really do anything about it. Even worse, our ability is Hydration, so we're basically never going to benefit from it. I'd already picked that up from the battle against Shauna, where Chespin used both Vine Whip and Tackle with no side effects, but I'm still bummed seeing it written out for me. Anyway, the 5 of us have been tasked with taking a tour of Kalos with the Pokedex, so I'm off to deliver a letter to my mom and tell her that I'm leaving. As a side note, I decided to replace Fennekin with Goodra because it was the only Pokemon that would give me some advantage regardless of our ability. A Chespin's line would rely on stab grass moves, and Froakies line might set up Rain to boost water moves. Either way, at least one ability should benefit. Does that make sense? I really hope it does. I get to Santaloon, where I'll face off against Viola, the town's bug-type gym leader. Along the way to Santaloon, I've gotten Goku to level 9, where she's learned Protect. I stocked up on speed EVs as I found them, and I'll be trying to manage her EVs going forward to minimize the damage from our nature. I'm not too worried about the gym battle, since bugs don't typically match well into dragons, but I also don't have anything to deal with her Pokemon, so we'll just have to see how it goes. The first attempt at Viola's gym goes not great. She leads with Surskit, who takes a little less than half of its health and damage from Tackle. I have Goku hit it again with a resistant bubble to keep Viola from healing while ensuring that a follow-up tackle will take it down, and we're in decent shape as Vivillon comes out. Unfortunately, neither Tackle nor Bubble do any real damage, so between infestation damage every turn and her actual attacks, Goku falls. This is highlighted an issue with Goodra that I hinted at earlier, but didn't outright come out and say. Remember the introduction when I mentioned that Dragon Pulse is our best level up move? It's actually only one of 2 level up moves that's really good for Goodra. The only move we're going to be able to rely on in the early game is Dragon Breath, which we don't get until level 18. We just hit level 11 during that fight, so I'll just grind out a few levels between attempts until I either sweep with Dragon Breath or brute force it with Tackle and Bubble. After grinding to level 13, I give it another shot. Surskit is back out and hits Goku with 2 quick attacks before going down to 2 tackles. Next out is Vivillon. I have Goku use Protect turn 1 to try and dodge an infestation, but instead it just goes for Tackle. On the next turn we trade tackles, and then it hits Goku with infestation, so now we're taking extra damage every turn. It uses Hardened as I go for Bubble, trying to keep it out of healing range, but it doesn't work. Viola heals and it looks hopeless, but then Goku crits to finish the battle and get us a win. I'm really grateful that Goku clutched that up. Grinding in Santaloon Forest is a nightmare. Anyway, I head to Lumiose next, a town whose theme I recognize from somewhere but can't quite place. There, I meet Professor Sycamore and battle against him. It's not particularly interesting, but he does use the Kanto starters, which is pretty neat. Also, I'm just gonna say what we're all thinking. He's hot. I'm not too big to admit it. Bro's majestic. I head downstairs and meet Lysander, a man with simply outrageous hair, and move on. Serena asks me to meet her at a local cafe, I assume for a battle, but instead we walk in on Lysander talking to a woman named Diantha. He's being super weird, but I can't really say I blame him. And to his credit, he's doing better than me, sticking me in a room alone with Diantha, and I think I'd just die of sheer panic. I head to Ambrit Town next. Along the way, Serena and I beat the stuffing out of Tierno and Trevor, and then go to learn about fossils. My next stop is the Glittering Cave, where I had my first encounter with Team Flare. Serena helps me and Goku beat them senseless, so I get a fossil that I won't use, and we finally get to visit the second gym. I get to Silage and immediately start looking for the gym. I find the bike shop first and snag a bike for free, and then accidentally run into the gym leader, a friendly guy named Grant who grants me the HM for strength. What a nice dude. He specializes in rock types, but Goku knows Bubble, so we should be okay to just plow through. Plus, I've been super training her special attacks, so we should actually be better than okay. Unfortunately, we're not okay. Grant Zamora one-shots Goku every time I try this battle with Refrigerate boosted takedown. Luckily, a little research shows me that Rock Smash is back in Ambret Town. Even though it's a bad move and it's physical, it is 4 times effective into Almora, so it may be able to save us. If not, I'll grind for my second gym in a row. I come back at level 25 with Rock Smash in hand, and Goku immediately takes Almora down to the red with 1 Rock Smash. It also gets the defense drop, and Almora retaliates with a Thunder Wave. Goku breaks through paralysis as Grant heals to one-shot with a critical Rock Smash. With a defense drop, the crit might not have mattered, but I don't mind. Tyrunt is next out, but is far less scary as Goku takes it down with 1 super effective Stab Dragon Breath for a one-shot and the win. I go to Geosenge next, home of, well, not the next gym, but there are some pretty cool rocks. I'm also challenged by Corinna and her 2 Lucario, whatever the plural of Lucario is, I guess. Goku and I eke out a win with Rock Smash, but it's a pretty close win. Luckily, her actual gym team doesn't include Lucario in any quantity, so I've got that going for me. I make my way to Shallower City next, home of the fighting gym. First, I have to go to the Tower of Mastery for some story stuff about Mega Evolution. I battle Serena here too, but the most interesting thing that happens in that fight is Protect stalling out 10 turns of Light Screen. Instead, I'll use it as a backdrop while I talk about Goodra and Mega Evolution some more, since I promised I'd come back to the topic. Not only is it kinda silly not to give Jinsex's introduced mechanic to the pseudo-legendary of that generation, Goodra is a Pokemon that, quite frankly, needs the help. Being a pure Dragon type in a generation that introduced the biggest nerf to dragons in 6 generations is hard. Even harder is doing that with the abysmal stat distribution that Goodra has. Giving Goodra a secondary typing, an adjusted stat spread, and some offensive buffs would make it far more viable. Hisuian Goodra is a great design with an incredible Dragon Steel typing that deals with Fairy types very well, so I'm pretty disappointed it's a regional form and not a Mega. Well, then again, Mega Evolutions no longer exist, while regional forms do, so maybe I am okay with it. Either way, Goodra definitely needed a Mega, and I'm mad it didn't get one. Now that I'm thinking about it, there are way too few Pokemon with Mega Evolutions. I'm glad that Dynamax and now Terrestrialization are available to everyone. Anyway, I go ahead and battle Corinna for the first time. I open with Protected to her lead Mienfoo, since it was Fake Out. My read pays off, and I paralyze Mienfoo with a Dragon Breath on the next turn. It hits a soft power-up punch, but another Dragon Breath takes it out. Corinna goes right to her Hawlucha next, and things immediately fall apart as it crits a power-up punch to take Cuckoo below half health. A retaliatory Dragon Breath doesn't do much in return, so a Flying Press finishes us off. I think if I dodged that crit, we're much better off, so I'll give this another shot real quick. Unfortunately, attempt 2 goes about the same, and now I'm down my only Citrus Berry, so it looks like I'm grinding. I can't learn any moves that deal with Hawlucha until deeper into the run, so I don't have any options, especially since I don't outspeed. I'm starting to get pretty sick of Goodra. I haven't been able to beat a single gym on the first try. After some super training and regular grinding, I get back to the gym at level 34. I once again protect into Mienfoo, and this time it goes for Power-Up Punch instead of Fake Out, for some reason. Anyway, it goes the same otherwise, as we trade Dragon Breath and Power-Up Punch before finishing it on the next turn. Hawlucha comes out next, and gets paralyzed by Dragon Breath after setting up with Home Claws. On the next turn, Goku outspeeds and finishes it off with a critical Dragon Breath. Last is Machoke, who also goes down to the Paralysis Crit combo, getting us the win. Next, I have to fight Corinna for the 3rd time at the Tower of Mastery. She'll be using a Mega Pokemon, while I'll just have regular old Goodra, so I'm expecting to lose a few— Oh, never mind, I just have to use Mega Lucario here. Well, I have Lucario Mega Evolve and hit a hard Power-Up Punch. Corinna's Lucario does the exact same thing, and actually hits harder, but we outspeed so it doesn't really matter. Easiest fight of the whole run. On my way out of town, Serena stops me to give me the HM for Surf. I get ready to fish up a water type to learn it, but then this dude just gives me a Lapras, so never mind, I guess. My next destination appears to be Coumarine City, so make sure to pick as many fights as possible on the way so I hopefully won't have to grind. I get there and Serena challenges me to a battle at the gym. I also run into Sycamore and Diantha again, so that's pretty neat. I battle Serena and end up having to stall her Meowstic out of light screen again before taking down Absol and Frogadier pretty quickly with a combination of Rock Smash and Dragon Breath. I can't wait until I have some more TMs, as real type coverage is something I'm desperate for at this point. This is feeling less like a Goodra only run, and more like a Goodra and Dragon Breath only run. Speaking of type coverage, the next gym is a grass gym, and I don't have anything super effective against grass types until I get to the other side of the map, so this'll be fun. Hopefully it'll be the first gym I beat on the first try. It isn't. Ramos leads with Jump Bluff, and I hit it with Dragon Breath that leaves it just above half health as it hits a surprisingly hard Acrobatics. I decide to gamble on the first turn being a low roll and go for another Dragon Breath, which takes it down after another decently hard Acrobatics. Next is Go-Goat for Ramos. I use Protect to see what it's going for, and see that it's Bulldoze. I use Dragon Breath next, and it does maybe a quarter of Go-Goat's HP as it takes Goku low with a Bulldoze. I no longer have the speed advantage, so follow-up takedown ends Goku. As frustrating as this is, I don't think I have to grind here just yet. I do a little research and see that his team is pretty physically frail, and we have the TM for return. Given how many battles we've lost so far, I don't think my friendship with Goku is maxed out, but it's definitely worth a shot. I replace Rock Smash and go back for round 2. Attempt 2 starts out great, as Goku sends Jump Bluff below half with a return before it hits an Acrobatics. Unfortunately, it crits a follow-up on the next turn, so I think we're in a speed tie. Go-Goat is next, and takes Goku to red health after taking a return just barely above half health. It outspeeds and hits a takedown to finish on the next turn. I just reset since I think I can win if I dodge that crit. Attempt 3 is even stronger as we crit Jump Bluff turn 1 after taking an Acrobatics. Ramos heals, so I hit a Dragon Breath, hoping a paralysis will keep Jumpluff from outspeeding and so that I can guarantee that Return finishes it on the next turn. While I don't get the paralysis, I do finish Jumpluff off. Go-Goat is next out and goes down to 2 more critical returns as it takes Goku to 12 HP with Bulldoze. Weepinbell is last and outspeeds to hit Acid, and I think we've lost. Amazingly, Goku lives on just 3 HP to one-shot with Return and get us the 4th badge. After doing some story stuff in the power plant, I make my way back to Lumiose. Shauna and I watch them light up the tower, and I realize why I know this town theme. This is a stage in Smash! With that knowledge, I feel renewed motivation as I pick up the TM for Bulldoze and slap it onto Goku. This is an electric gym, and I know that because this is where Bulbapedia says I get Thunderbolt's TM, so I'm looking forward to picking that up. My only complaint about this gym is that even when you're right on the quiz stuff, you still have to battle, which is exactly why Goku comes into this damaged. I like to walk up to gym leaders to heal and save before battle, but unfortunately I hit a cutscene trigger that forced me into the battle before I was ready. Clement leads with a Mulga, who takes Dragon Breath to red health before hitting back with a hard aerial ace. Clement heals a few times, but eventually we take the thing down. Next is Magneton, who survives a quad-effective Bulldoze thanks to Sturdy and claps back with Mirror Shot, lowering Goku's accuracy. Last is Heliolisk, who takes a Bulldoze to yellow health after hitting a Quick Attack. Another Quick Attack takes Goku to just 9 HP. We lose if this misses, but Goku clutches up to win a terrifyingly close battle. With that win, we now have Thunderbolt, an incredible attack that finally gives us an answer to most water and flying type Pokemon, along with Bulldoze, a move that lets us hit steel types for super effective damage. And we finally beat a gym on the first try. It feels like we're setting up for a bit of a late game stomp, and I'm all for it. My motivation for this run was kind of flagging, since Goodra is so painfully mid in every way except for design and getting hit by special moves, but now I'm starting to get a second wind. I'm also going to take this time to farm a bit of engagement. First, if you've made it this far, you should totally like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's a fun time over here, I promise. Next, I have a question for you all. This video is going to come out around the Thanksgiving holiday, so I'll be taking a few days to spend time with family and catch up on all the God of War time I've missed by focusing on this run. While I'm doing that, I want to hear from you guys. Do you want me to jump right into the next pseudo-legendary run, using just Kommo-o and Ultra Sun? Or would you prefer a bit of a breather before that last run, either for my totally normal Emerald playthrough or a randomized run of Fire Red? Or perhaps a secret 4th thing? I'm going to make all 4 of them at some point, I just want some outside input. This is your chance to make your voice heard. And plus, comments help me out, so it's a win-win. Anyway, back to the game. I stumble around Lumiose for a while because the camera is impossible to control, and meet with Sycamore and Lysander in a cafe that Lysander owns. He proceeds to continue scaring the hose. It's me and Sycamore, we're the hose. And then I stumble around Lumiose for a while longer, trying to get to Route 14 to meet the gang. I battle Serena, and since I don't have to stall light screen thanks to Bulldoze in return, it's a much easier battle, but also that much less interesting. The crew wants to hit up a haunted house next, so I guess that's my next stop before another gym. After hearing the lamest ghost story known to man, Goku and I make our way to Laver, home of the... oh shit. First fairy-type gym in history. As our single worst type matchup, this is pretty scary. The TM for Sludge Bomb is still several towns away, and the TM for Sludge Wave is locked behind the post-game, so I really don't have any options here except to fight. I get the feeling our streak of beating gyms on the first try is about to drop back to 0. I avoid all but one trainer in the gym, so after making sure to heal, I get into the battle. Valerie, oh hey, that's my mom's name, leads Mawile into Goku. I start firing away with Bulldoze as Valerie heals, only taking a soft crunch on the first turn. After finally finishing Mawile off, Mr. Mime is out next. Return takes him to red health as he just sets up a light screen. If that had been Reflect, we'd have been screwed, but thankfully another Return just takes him down. Last is Sylveon. Things start out okay as Goku leaves it just above half health with the Return, but swiftly fall apart as it crits it dazzlingly. I don't luck out with a crit on Return, so it's left deep in the red before finishing Goku off. I reset and get ready to try again. If I dodge that crit, this is an easy dub. Attempts 2 and 3 end in failure because Goku just keeps getting crit, but attempt 4 sees things change for us. Mawile goes for Iron Defense this time after Bulldoze takes it deep into yellow health, and Valerie heals on the next turn. Goku turns her luck around though, critting a Bulldoze on the next turn for a one-shot. Mr. Mime is next and sets up a light screen after taking a Return to red health. Valerie heals again, but Goku is faster and finishes things off, so we get to Sylveon with full health. Return does a little over a third of Sylveon's health and damage before Goku takes a nasty dazzling lead, and I think Valerie has a third Hyper Potion, so I go for Bulldoze to try to keep her out of healing range. Sylveon responds with a Charm, lowering our attack by 2 stages, so Return doesn't finish it off on the next turn. Thanks to that, we take another nasty hit, but thankfully don't get crit, so we're able to finish this battle off. That one was tough, but mainly because of the RNG elements not lining up in our favor. I'm just glad I didn't have to grind again. I step out of the gym and run into Shauna and Trevor, who invite me to join them on a tour of the Pokeball factory. Team Flare is there, causing problems as usual, so after the homies chase the guard off, Serena and I clear out the admins. I also get to ride heavy machinery, risking life and limb, so that's pretty cool. Next up is Dendemil Town, where Team Flare is still causing trouble, so this time I get to team up with Trevor to drive them off. Hey, as long as that Flabébé of his is pointed at literally anyone else, I'm cool with it. While I'm here, Goku hits level 47, so we finally have Dragon Pulse. With those wins, we get Mamoswine back on track to help us get to the next town. I arrive in Anistar next, where I know Serena waits for another battle. I make sure to grab the TM for Flamethrower while I'm here too, and head over to the gym for the rival fight. We actually lose the first go at this, since Meowstic crit with Psychic, and got the special defense drop from Shadow Ball, and Greninja rolled for 5 Water Shuriken, and then crit with Dark Pulse, letting Absol finish us off. Goku might actually be the least lucky Pokemon I've ever seen, because we've been getting RNG like that for the whole run. Anyway, attempt 2 is boring, so we're good to move on to the gym. This is a Psychic-type gym, but I'm not super worried, despite our dear, sweet, useless Goku not being able to learn any good moves for Psychic types. Looking at Olympia's team, she's got Sigilyph and Slowking, so they're both weak to Thunderbolt. And Meowstic, who will be annoying with Fake Out, but should go down to a couple of returns. The Psychic Gym is one of the coolest concepts I've seen in the entire series, and one of the easier battles in the run. Things start out great with Goku critting Sigilyph for a one-shot, so Slowking is basically her lead Pokemon. I have Goku use Return first, since Slowking has pretty nasty special defense. It fires back with a Psychic, and then goes down to a Thunderbolt on the next turn. Last is Meowstic. It hits Goku with a Fake Out to start, and then hits a Psychic before taking good damage off a Bulldoze. I want the speed advantage, so I have Goku go for another Bulldoze to make sure that I have it. Goku outspeeds, so I finally go for Return to take out the last of Meowstic's health to win us the badge. I step outside and fear for the worst, as Serena seems ready for another bout before I've healed, but we're interrupted by Lysandra on the Holocaster. He lets the world know that he's going to commit global genocide because he thinks that'll keep things from changing, I guess. I don't really get it, but I think it's more confusing that he's announcing his plans to the world. Now, me personally, if I were going to blow up 98% of the population and also all of the Pokemon, I wouldn't let anyone know. Then people might actually stop me, which is exactly what I'm going to do to Lysander. It's important that he learned from that kind of mistake. Anyway, I lay siege to Lysandra Labs and get the elevator key, taking me to a neat little cutscene as narrated by the tallest man in the world. I beat up Team Flare's resident nerd, but he's a little bitch and activates the ultimate weapon anyway, so I have to go to Geosense to turn it back off. Serena and Shauna join me for the siege, and I free Xerneas. It's a fairy-type legendary, and I'll be damned if I'm battling that thing with just a Goodra, so I chuck a Master Ball at it, kick Lysander's ass, and get back to finding that last gym. In the next town, I meet up with Professor Sycamore, and we do battle once again. He loses once again, and then I'm confronted by Shauna, Tierno, and Trevor on a bridge right outside of Snowbell Town. It's a bit scary, but I survive the 3-on-1 gauntlet and get to move on to the final gym, an Ice-type challenge against Wulfric. Goku knows Flamethrower, so I'm not too concerned, despite our Ice weakness. Attempt 1 against Wulfric, and yes, there is more than one attempt at this, starts out great. He leads with Abomasnow, whose Snow Warning means that we'll be taking damage from Hail, and whose Quad Weakness to Fire means that one Flamethrower knocks it out. Next out is Cryogonal. If you watched the last video, you'll know already that this thing has 30 base physical defense, so Return is actually the better move to use here. Amazingly, Goku misses out on a kill, leaving it with just a tiny sliver of health. Cryogonal confuses Goku in Return before Wulfric heals. We get another Return off after another heal, and then Goku just hits herself in Confusion twice before Cryogonal crits an Ice Beam to finish us off. Attempt 2 starts the same as the first attempt. Abomasnow is introduced to Flamethrower and they don't get along. And then Cryogonal. I have Goku hit a Dragon Pulse so Wulfric doesn't heal on Return, not killing, and get confused. And once again, Goku just fucking hits herself as it takes her down. I'm losing my mind with this Goodra, man. Attempt 3! Abomasnow is the same, and I realize I actually healed after I saved, so we're pre-damaged in this one, but also, who cares at this point? Cryogonal comes out, and I've swapped Return for Rock Smash, hoping the type advantage will help. but it does even less in return because I forgot that Rock Smash sucks. Cryogonal confuses Goku, and of course she hits herself as Wolfer Keels, but this time snaps right out to fire off a flamethrower. That ensures that Rock Smash cleanly finishes it off after we take a nasty Ice Beam. I expected it to freeze just to really complete the Joker moment that is this gym, but we just get to one-shot Avalon with Flamethrower for a rage-inducing win. That battle was so frustrating for me because it should never have been that hard. Goku just has a ton of trouble securing kills. In our first Lysander battle, she somehow couldn't one-shot Gyarados with Thunderbolt. Anyway, next is Victory Road, where I'll have my final battle against Serena. The battle itself is unremarkable, but I have to use a Hyper Potion every few turns since Goku is too weak to one-shot, too frail to take more than a few hits, and often gets outsped by Pokemon almost 10 levels lower than her. But that win just leaves us with the Elite Four and the Champion before I'm able to be done using this thing. Once I'm at the Pokemon League, I decide to backtrack and pick up some necessary TMs before challenging the Elite Four. Here are our stats before the Elite Four, where we once again battle in a Smash stage. I've used a couple of rare candies that I picked up, so we're at level 70 now. Just like the last game, we get to choose the order in which we challenge the Elite Four, so I'll be able to really optimize my moveset for each fight. Hopefully this is the end of the run. Let's find out for sure. My first opponent is Drasna, the Dragon-type expert. She leads with Dragalge, who goes down to a single critical Dragon Pulse from Goku. After that great start, her Altaria goes down to one non-critical Ice Beam. Her Noivern outspeeds and hits a Dragon Pulse before also going down to one Ice Beam, so it's down to her last Pokemon, a Dredagon. Goku smacks it with Dragon Pulse to take it all the way down to just a few hit points, but it retaliates with the Dragon Tail to do the same. At this point, though, we've won. Drasna tries to keep Dredagon healthy as we ensure it stays weak before we finally finish it off and beat our first Elite Four member. Next up is the Steel Trainer, Wickstrom. He leads with Klefki, whose Prankster ability means that we have to gamble on getting hit by a Priority Torment. It just goes for Dazzling Gleam, so we outspeed and one-shot with Flamethrower. Wickstrom sends out Probopass next, who takes a Flamethrower pretty well before responding with Power Gem. That Flamethrower was just very sturdy though, so a follow-up Earthquake from Goku finishes it off. Third is Aegislash, so I have Goku use Protect. I need to manipulate this thing to be in Blade form when I attack it. Since Goku has a speed advantage, that results in us doing a lot of nothing for a bit, but I eventually get it to go down. That sends out Caesar, whose priority Bullet Punch was the whole reason I couldn't take a hit from Aegislash, but it now goes down to a quad-effective Flamethrower, so we're safe and have beaten half of the Elite Four. Third is Malva and her Fire types. She leads with Pyroar, but a held Soft Sand on Goku ensures that Earthquake one-shots. Next is Talonflame, who nails Goku hard with a Brave Bird. The recoil damage and crit from Thunderbolt ensure that Talonflame doesn't survive to hit another, so it's Torkoal up next. It gets hit hard by Earthquake, and goes for Curse, raising its attack and defense at the cost of its speed. Malva heals, and Goku's next Earthquake looks like it hasn't quite done half of Torkoal's health, so I'm pretty worried. Thankfully, it seems to have done exactly half, as another Earthquake takes it down. Last is Chandelure, who's just another one-shot from Earthquake. With that, it's 3 down and 1 to go. Last is Seabold, a certified wet boy thanks to his water Pokemon. He leads with Clawitzer, who just gets one-shot by Goku with Thunderbolt. Goku's holding a Zap Plate, so after Starmie hits a Dazzling Gleam, the rest of Seabold's team just goes down to a Thunderbolt apiece, winning a really easy final Elite Four fight. Kinda anticlimactic, but I don't really mind. Now, all that's left is the battle against the champion. I've taken the best moves available to us to deal with the threats on her team, so now we'll see if Goku and I have what it takes to win. The battle against Diantha starts with me being grateful that I have Goku with me. Otherwise, I'd suffer extreme panic and die. Anyway, her Hawlucha comes out and outspeeds to hit Goku with a Flying Press. Goku retaliates with a critical Ice Beam to one-shot, so now it's over to Auroras. Goku outspeeds to nail it with a Focus Blast, so Diantha sends out her own Goodra. We trade Dragon Pulses before Goku finishes it off, eating a held Citrus Berry in the meantime. Tyrantrum is next and goes down to a single Dragon Pulse. Next is her Gourgeist, but one Ice Beam is able to take it down too. Last is her Mega Gardevoir, who survives a Sludge Bomb in the yellow before taking Goku all the way to red health with a Moonblast. It outspeeds, so on the next turn it just finishes Goku off. I have a confession to make. What you just watched was not my first attempt at Diantha. In fact, I don't know what number attempt that was. Now you may be asking yourself, hey Admiral, how could you lose track of attempts? It's simply because that was the end of 3 hours worth of attempts. I know I can win this. I know I don't have to grind. If I could just crit Gardevoir, I win. But over 3 hours, that did not happen a single fucking time. At one point, I tried save state scumming it just to see if I could crit her, and I'm not even sure it's possible. I hit Sludge Bomb for 20 straight minutes, reloading my save state after every hit to reroll, and still did not crit. I also know that we can survive 2 Moonblasts, because it does around 120 points of damage to Goku. I just have to get there at full health, since Citrus Berry Recovery takes us out of range for a one-shot. That's not hard against Hawlucha, as there were several attempts where it opened with Sword Stance. I think a little over half of the attempts, actually. The problem is her Goodra. I tried everything to avoid taking damage from it. I tried to get crits from Dragon Pulse. I tried to freeze it with Ice Beam. Hell, I swapped to Blizzard and still could not one-shot it. Over the course of a little more than 3 hours, Goku could never crit Goodra or Gardevoir, so I am now forced to grind and hunt down rare candies. I started this a little before 8 PM and have given up on not grinding just after 11:30. I get to level 80 because there is no way I'm doing this fight one more time, and challenge Diantha again a level higher after Elite 4 experience. Hawlucha is out first again, and goes down to 1 Ice Beam after just setting up Sword Stance. Next is Auroras, still one-shot by Focus Blast. Goodra is third, and goes down all the way to red health from Dragon Pulse. Diantha heals on the next turn, and... oh, now we crit. Anyway, next up is Tyrantrum, still a one-shot from Dragon Pulse. Gourgeist is more of the same, and last, but certainly not least, is Mecha Gardevoir. We open with Sludge Bomb, poisoning too, before taking a nasty Moonblast all the way to red health. Diantha heals, but we send Gardevoir right back down with another Sludge Bomb. This time she doesn't heal, and we outspeed to win. With that, we enter the Hall of Fame and the game is over. This was certainly an experience. I liked this game a lot, and I'm definitely going to revisit it at some point for a casual playthrough. Aside from the occasional French jump scare, my only real complaint about this one is that Mecha Evolution felt severely underused. Only 3 trainers used Megas in the entire game, and I still feel that way too few Pokemon have Mega forms. Hell, the Kalos starters don't even get Megas. The worst part of this run was easily Goodra itself. I said it before, somehow we're too weak to one-shot, too slow to reliably outspeed, and too frail to take hits. This Pokemon does exactly one thing well, and it's walling special attackers, but I'm not quite convinced it even does that very well. Goku's atrocious luck didn't help either. I have no idea what the hell was going on, but if something could go wrong during a battle, Goku would find a way to ensure that it happened. For example, my first battle against Wolfric, because what the fuck was that? Similar bullshit almost lost us the rival battle against Tierno. I feel like I've never been able to trust a Pokemon less in my life. When I have a Pokemon consistently underperform like that in a normal playthrough, it finds itself permaboxed very quickly. Other than that, though, I had a lot of fun with this one. About as much as I could anyway, since that Diantha stuff turned me into the Joker. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel. It'll really help things grow over here, and hey, maybe I'll make a friend or two from it. Also, don't forget to comment. I'm always looking to hear feedback and ideas from you guys, and I'm hoping to hear your opinions from that prompt earlier about the next video. With all that said, thank you so much for watching.